The deleted Peppa Pig episode, The Candle Wish. It all started like any ordinary morning. Peppa woke up in her room smiling because today was her birthday. Everything seemed normal until she reached the kitchen. The kitchen was decorated with balloons and a banner with a distorted message that read, "Happy Birth, Die." On the table was a cake, but strangely it had only one candle. Peppa frowned.
"Where are the others?"
she asked. No one answered. Her family simply stood there smiling. Too wide, too unnatural. A chill ran down her spine. Sadness washed over Peppa as she blew out the single candle. Suddenly, the room went dark. When the lights flickered back on, the kitchen was empty. The balloons had deflated, and the walls were covered in moss and slime. On the wall, in red letters, appeared the message, "Make a wish," and so she did. Peppa wandered through the deserted house, but it felt like she wasn't alone. Suddenly, she heard a strange voice coming from the mirror. It was calling her. When she looked into it, her reflection didn't mimic her movements. It looked terrifying. Its skin had turned black. It was wrinkled and old. Its eyes glowed eerily, and a sinister smile stretched across its face. Suddenly, it whispered, "You made the wrong wish, Peppa." The mirror cracked open. A dreadful roar echoed through the house. Suddenly, morning returned again. Peppa sat at the kitchen table. Everything looked normal. But when she looked into the mirror once more, standing behind her was another Peppa. The same one, with cracks across her face and hollow glowing eyes. She slowly stepped out of the mirror, reaching out with her terrifying hands. Peppa couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. "You can't escape now, Peppa. You're already on the other side." Deleted episode of Peppa Pig. On the other side. It was an ordinary day.
Wow!
Grandpa brought the family an old television. It looked strange, but it immediately turned on. It was showing memories, happy and familiar. But sometimes there was something extra in these scenes. At night, Peppa woke up to a strange crackling sound. The TV turned on by itself. It showed Mom, but with eyes that looked empty, erased, just for a second. In the morning, the scene repeated, only Peppa noticed. During the day, everything seemed normal. No one believed Peppa's stories. A little later, she saw Daddy Pig. He wasn't blinking. He was just staring.
"See, Daddy, you see? Something's wrong."
Daddy Pig monotonously replied, "We've all been here before." Peppa searched for an explanation. With each day, everything in the house became stranger. Peppa whispered,
"Mom?"
She answered emotionlessly.
Don't look for too long, Peppa. You'll see too much.
Daddy disappeared. The screen hummed as if it knew this would happen. Peppa decided to act. She pulled at the TV cord, but it sank into the floor and disappeared. The TV had never been plugged in, never before. Now it showed only fear and nothing else. On the screen, family members without faces, Peppa inside it. She screamed but made no sound. Peppa tore off George's toy hammer and struck the TV. The screen cracked. From inside, thick black liquid flowed out. Something unpleasant and dark seeped outward. The TV was gone, but distorted reflections remained. Some things don't turn off, even if the screen is no longer there. Deleted Peppa Pig episode. The ominous shadow. It was an ordinary day. Fun and laughter playing with George. Giggles and mischief. But suddenly, Peppa noticed something strange. Her shadow on the wall was moving out of sync with her. The shadow was distorted.
"George, do you see this?"
"It's just the light, Peppa," he replied, not paying attention. But Peppa couldn't shake her unease. During the night, she heard footsteps. The shadow was alive again, moving on its own. Suddenly, it grabbed Peppa's hand and led her in an unknown direction. They found themselves in a dark forest. Gloom blocked out every ray of sunlight. Peppa's heart clenched. She saw a whole kingdom of shadows before her. They whispered, "You can't escape." Peppa felt doomed. Just as the shadows began to surround her, she heard George's voice. "Peppa, hold on!" George took out a mirror that his mom had once given him with the words,
One day it will save your life.
The shadows froze, and their reflections started to be drawn into the mirror, pulling them into the looking glass realm. They screamed and struggled as they vanished without a trace into the mirror abyss.
We're saved!
Peppa exclaimed, hugging George with relief. The world returned to normal again, but somewhere in the darkness, deep within the forest, a mysterious whisper could be heard. Deleted Peppa Pig episode. The Mystery of the Chest. On a bright, sunny day, the entire Peppa family was on their way to visit Grandma and Grandpa,
I can't wait to see Grandma and Grandpa.
said Peppa.
Dinosaur. Grrr.
Exclaimed George. They enjoyed a cozy time together, baking cookies. Peppa and George exchanged mischievous smiles,
Let's explore the basement.
suggested Peppa. They tiptoed down the creaky stairs into the dimly lit basement. In the corner stood a dusty chest covered in cobwebs.
What is that? A treasure chest?
Peppa asked in surprise. She opened it with a loud creak. Suddenly, dark shadows burst out from inside, forming sinister figures. "Peppa, I'm scared," George said fearfully. The children's screams caused their parents to rush downstairs quickly.
What's going on, kids?
Asked Mummy Pig. The shadows swirled around the parents, trying to pull them into the chest. Daddy Pig grabbed one of the tentacles that was emerging from the chest.
George, Peppa, back away.
Daddy Pig shouted sternly. But suddenly, one of the shadows struck him, causing him to lose his balance and loosen his grip. The shadows swallowed the parents. Grandpa Pig hurried down the stairs with a serious look on his face.
Inside this chest were the souls of those brave enough to open it. I found this on an old ship.
He said grimly.
It's a curse.
He pulled out an old book from his pocket and began to recite a spell. The shadows taunted Grandpa, whispering incomprehensible words, and he looked frightened.
Grandpa, help us!
Peppa cried out. The shadows started to dissolve, but suddenly George snatched the book from Grandpa's hands and threw it onto the floor. His eyes turned red as if he were under hypnosis. "No more light needed," he declared. The remaining shadows lunged at Grandpa, dragging him into the chest. He struggled but was helpless. Peppa watched in horror as George advanced toward her with tears in her eyes.
What are you doing?
She shouted in fear. With tears streaming down her face, she grabbed the tattered book tightly and held it high.
I won't let you take my family.
She declared to the shadows, her voice trembling but resolute. She recited something she remembered from Grandpa's stories. The shadows screamed and began to vanish. Silence fell over the basement. Peppa and George were left alone, trembling with horror as they realized they had lost their family. Grandma Pig appeared at the top of the stairs, looking horrified at what was happening. Peppa and George looked at each other, trembling, speechless. From inside the open chest, faint whispers of the shadows still echoed softly. In the morning, Peppa discovered that her mom had disappeared. An oppressive silence filled the house. On the table lay a tattered note. To find your mom, open the right door. But remember, not all doors lead back. Her heart beat faster. There were many doors in the house. Each one seemed alive, as if waiting for her. The first door was dark. Behind it was a room with mirrors, in which she saw no reflection. When Peppa approached one of them, she saw her mom, staring at her with black eyes and whispering,
"You shouldn't come in here."
Suddenly, the mirror cracked and shattered. From the shards appeared a sinister shadow. Peppa screamed and ran out into the corridor. The second door was covered in cobwebs. Behind it was a room filled with clocks, all showing different times. When Peppa touched them, strange voices suddenly echoed. The clocks started ticking in sync with her heartbeat. She heard her mom's voice.
I'm here, or not.
Terrified, Peppa ran out of the room. The third door was long. The walls were covered with strange symbols. At the end of the corridor appeared her mom with black eyes. She quickly started approaching her. Peppa noticed fangs on her mom and ran into the next room, which had many doors, but one of them opened by itself. Behind it was the same room where she woke up that morning. Peppa chose the last door with a bright handle. She opened it and found herself in a dimly lit room. There stood her mom, but she looked unrecognizable. Eyes as black as night, face twisted into a terrible smile. Her mom whispered through clenched teeth.
You found me, but I'm no longer who I was.
At that moment, the walls cracked and began to crumble. The floor seemed alive. Peppa found herself in an empty space without any doors. Suddenly, she woke up in her bed. She noticed a small piece of glass on the floor. When she picked it up, her mother's reflection appeared before her, smiling sinisterly and whispering,
Did you think it was all just a dream? I'm always here, inside your head.